Okay, David, here we go. 5, 4, 3. Well, good morning, and here we are once again at the very sunny, very lovely corner of Glenwood and Lunt. We're in the heart of Rogers Park. We're on the stage at the Heartland Cafe. I am Michael James, your host for this morning's edition of Live from the Heartland Radio. And it is the 15th of August in the year 2009, in the first year of Barack Obama's presidency. And we're glad to be here. We have two guests, so we're going to get into some detail with both of them. We're going to have the 5th District Senator from the state of Illinois, Heather Steans, coming up a little bit later. And we're going to start off this morning with a young fellow named Shanny Hill. Shanny, good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. I got an email, and it was about a film that you're involved with. It's called Tour d'Afrique. Actually, the film is Where Are You Go? Where
That's right.
Are You Go?
Yep.
And that is a film about the Tour d'Afrique, which takes place every year. It goes from Cairo all the way down to Cape Town. And you are the tour manager, the project manager, and the tour director.
Correct, yes.
Tell us a little bit about this race, this ride.
Well, it's something very unique. We started it in 2003, and it's an annual event, and each year we bring participants, Americans and Europeans and people from all over the world through 10 African countries, and they'll cycle, by the end of it, they'll have cycled 12,000 kilometers or 7,500 miles. It's a test of one's endurance, but a mental test as well to continually cycle long distances each day. So,
how many folks ride in this?
Most years we have between 30 and 40 who will do the whole tour, and then we'll also have people join us for short sections of it as well. They'll fly in and join us for 2 or 3 weeks at a time.
And how long a period of time does this take place?
It starts in January every year and ends in May, so that's 4 months. It's 120 days.
And you get 3 days off, or for if you have a breakdown or an illness or something. So when you're totaling up the times, you subtract 3 days, and I noticed that the winner had about 380 hours.
Yeah, something crazy like that.
On the road. You know, the closest thing I can think of that I'm aware of is in Iowa, we have a ride called the Ragbri. And it's
right.
Not so much a race. Maybe there is a race element to it, but they start at the western end of Iowa and they ride across, over the hills of Iowa, which there are many, and little valleys, and they stop in farm towns and small cities, and people put them up. How do you do this on the Tour d'Afrique?
Well, it's for myself. I'm sort of the behind-the-scenes guy and do a lot of the logistics and things to make the days run smooth for the riders. So, yeah, it's a big, huge challenge. There's accommodations to be found for every night and food to be bought for the riders who eat twice as much as they normally do back home. So it's a big challenge. We camp every night for 120 days. And we have a truck that follows the group and carries their bags and prepares a meal every evening for them. So we have a cook that travels along with us and shops locally in all the markets, which is quite an experience as well.
Can you give us a little story about some exciting thing that happens on this tour, or happened, or any precarious situations? I mean, people's images of Africa are very mixed. Some of them are old and stereotypical. We know that today it's much more modern with not only China but the Russia and the U.S. competing for interests. What's Africa like from the top to the bottom?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think what we hope with all of our participants is that they do this and they come away with a much richer understanding of the places we traveled through. The only thing we have from here is the media that gives one side of things, but I think there's many other sides to the realities of what's on the ground and what the people are like and the places are like. So to give you a story, I'll come back to that. I'll think of a story. I'm sure there's many stories. So.
All right, can you reel off the 10 countries you go through?
Sure. We start in Cairo, Egypt. So we travel through through Egypt, Sudan, Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, Malawi, Zambia, Botswana, Namibia, and then South Africa. And we end in Cape Town, South Africa.
And if you have 30 or 40 riders, and then you have your backup truck, you have your cook, how many people involved in the whole scene each day?
Yeah, we normally have around 10 to 12 staff. And as I mentioned, 30 to 40 riders doing the whole thing, and then perhaps another 10 to 15 doing sections. So we're talking about 70 to 80 people at any given time.
And now some of those countries have had a lot of not only civil wars, but attempts to overthrow governments. Is it at all precarious, or is it pretty smooth?
It's pretty smooth. What I was surprised about when I first went to Africa, and what many of the participants are surprised about, is that the average place that we travel through is perfectly safe. And we don't get that impression from our perspective here in North America. We travel through the Sudan, and one of the first questions I had last night after the film from the audience was, is it dangerous to travel through Sudan? Sudan's government is doing some terrible things right now to its people in Darfur, some really terrible things. But our route is several thousand kilometers east of Darfur, and the people are extremely friendly and are very open to inviting you into their homes or their huts and sharing tea with you. So it's a strange contrast to meet the people and to know what's going on a couple thousand kilometers to the west of you, but you feel perfectly safe where you are.